Welcome back to the channel, guys. Kerrod here in the studio at Joondalup Resort, and in this video I'm going to be helping those of you who tend to sway off the golf ball, or when your hips move away from the target as you take that golf club away in your backswing. If you feel like this is affecting you, this little exercise could help you massively with your ability to control the bottom of your golf swing and help you hit some better shots. Let's get into it. Now, the way that we move our hips in the golf swing plays a huge role in our ability to create a functional pivot and return that golf club consistently back to the golf ball. And for a lot of players, they struggle with a lateral sway away from the target as they make their backswing. So let's talk about what that is, and then I'm going to show you how to fix it. So if I set up to the golf ball, a lateral sway would be as you take the golf club back, your hips move away from the target. So if I was sending the ball in this direction and we were to use this golf club as a reference here as where my right hip would be located, if I make my backswing, my hips would move away from the target in this direction. Now, this causes a whole bunch of follow-on errors because the more that we shift our mass off the ball, we've shifted our pressure too far outside our back foot. We've got a very long way to move back to the golf ball to be able to strike that in a predictable manner. So therefore, it's not the best way to make that backswing if you're looking for some more reliable contact. My preference is to see more of a centered turn in which as we make our backswing to the top, our head's not going to move greatly off the golf ball. This is proven to help you get a little bit more of a descending blow on that golf ball more often than not, rather than shifting and sliding too far in the backswing. So if you feel like this is affecting you, I want you to focus specifically on what your tailbone is doing at address and then how you move it in the backswing. So using your tailbone or your belt, just from the face-on view here, as a reference, let's just call this the center of your hips. Now, if we were to identify this as a checkpoint, and if I was to swing to the top of my backswing and we notice that my hips and my tailbone have moved away from where we started over the ball, well, this would mean that we have slid or swayed away from the target. Once again, this is not what we're looking for. So if I set up to the golf ball here, we're going to use our tailbone as a reference and think about where we want it to finish at the top of our backswing. So in the golf swing, not only do we want to stay centered, but we want to make sure that we are turning our shoulders and turning our hips. So that's why we're focusing on what our tailbone is doing. So if I turn around and face the camera in this direction, and you just notice on where the back of my belt is here, and I start my backswing once again, if I'm swaying off the golf ball, I would tend to shift my hips away from the target, and it would look like this at the top of the golf swing. Now, the feeling I want you to get related to where your tailbone is if this is affecting you, I want you to feel and exaggerate that your tailbone is shifting over to the point in which it would be on the inside of your front heel. So for me, my left heel, I'm feeling that my tailbone is shifting over to the front of my left heel. Now, this may be a slight exaggeration required for a lot of you, but effectively at this stage, if you are a swayer, this is definitely something you can consider to give you the opposite feeling, help you stay a little bit more centered, and it's going to help massively with your ability to get that golf club striking the ground in the same spot a little bit further forward towards the target. So let's show you what that looks from face on. So once again, if I set up to this golf ball and I'm thinking about turning my tailbone over to the inside of my left heel, you can see that if I start with this reference point that I drew before with the club up on my right hip, and I'm focusing solely on that, well, my hips tend to stay a lot more centered and pivot onto my left foot. When I do this, I create a lot more width and room between where my arms and my body are, and it's going to be a lot easier to then move down towards the target, and all things being equal, the bottom of my golf swing is going to be in front of that golf ball. So a real quick and easy fix for those of you who tend to sway off the golf ball in the backswing, I want you to make some exaggerated rehearsals. Start off slowly, think about what your tailbone is doing, turn your tailbone over your front foot and swing through from that position. The more you do it, the better feel you'll get of staying a little bit more centered over the golf ball, and it will help massively with the quality of your strike. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you've got any questions, please ask them below. I'm more than happy to help. But until next time, I'm Kerrod. Thanks for watching.